This is a cheap tarp, and it's not big enough, as you can see. If it were to rain, it might work, yeah. It might keep us dry. We'd have to tie a few drop cords to make sure the rain doesn't get in there. And checking along this end, very exposed, probably would get wet. Dig up a tarp. So now I know that I need a 3x3, and the only one I can't find this lightweight camo is DD. I think it's about 50 or 60 quid. So that's probably what we'll be investing in. These cheap tarps are actually very good if you don't mind the crinkly noises when you're unrolling them and the flapping in the wind. But apart from that, they're really good value for money. The camo is quite good, as you can see on them. I think this one was about 8 quid or 11 quid, it wasn't too much. For next year, 23, is DD tarp, Hammock DD, which doubles up as a bivvy because it's waterproof base with a bug net and double layer, which means you can put insulation in underneath as well. So that's what I'll be going for. I'm trying to figure out a way of travelling and sleeping rough in a forest without being detected, of course, and most importantly, I'm getting a bit old for crawling around on my hands and knees, and I quite like being off the ground. The idea of being off the ground. Whether it will produce a night's sleep or not is another matter, but you know, it might. It's worth a try. Failing all that, at least I'll have a big tarp, a potential bug net, which can double up as a bivvy, which you can then turn into your sleeping quarters, whether suspended or not. Right then, I think I'll give it a test and see how it feels. I'm going to pull back the tarp at the moment because it's a nice dry afternoon, and try and take in some of the ambience of the branches above. Nice things about a hammock is you have a chair to sit on. It's really comfortable. I like my hammock to be sitting about knee height, which means when you sling it around the tree, you sling it around about chest or shoulder height, probably chest height. The tarp goes about head height, which gives you space to walk around underneath. And in the wee small hours of the morning, if you need to get up for the bathroom, so to speak, you've just got a small flip over the edge. That's very important. And then daisy chains holding up the tarp, which means it's easy to deploy and quick to take down. So overall, this is the first time I've tried this setup for a very long time, and I must admit I'm rather keen to take it a step further and use it. I like to use bungees at one end to give a tension which is flexible so that it doesn't put strain on the connection should there be a bit of a storm. And of course it will have to be a 3x3 because 2.5x3 isn't big enough to take the length of a hammock. So it's best to go for the DD camo, which is about all there is on the market that I can find at the moment that's lightweight, affordable and reasonable camouflage, which is almost DPM, more like a forest pattern. So yeah, quite happy. So we'll be doing all that, and the The fuel has now finished, so I have to replenish it. Well, that's dinner about ready, so let it cool. Drink off the excess liquid for hydration as a soup, and then polish off the contents thereafter. So the technique of a hammock is, for my end, is not too high. When you want to sleep in it, I suppose, cardinal rule is no boots. You sit on the centre of the hammock, bottom on the centre, in the middle, so when you swing into it, so let's try that, shall we? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that worked. Never go to bed with your boots on, although in military terms, you might have to sleep with your boots on, depending where you are. The dog clearly wants to be part of this mission. There's no room for a beagle. He would try though, and it would certainly be a sleepless night for both of us if he did. Sleeping with a mat in the hammock usually ends up in tears because it just ends up crawling up the side of the hammock. And you're always trying to adjust it through the night, so I'm thinking insulation underneath is the key. Also, a sleeping bag. If you're in the sleeping bag, then you know it's all right, you can move around. A sleeping bag as well, like I've got a military winter sleeping bag, which is really 3-season cold weather, and the zip at the bottom opens, which means you can stick your feet out if it gets too hot. Or you can use it as a quilt, open it all up. But it's a fairly secure sleeping container for you in a hammock because you're well insulated with it. Further underdraft would be stopped by an underlayer. It's going to be relatively comfortable, I think. I'm just testing all this out to get the feel for it, that people who use hammocks get used to them and they actually prefer them. You can lie fairly flat if you lie diagonally. I like the idea of walking around camp and never having to be on your knees. I know it's not very military, I know it's not very stealth because you're high off the ground, but you're still pretty hidden because if you use camo, you're sort of blending in the thick cover. And the very last stage is unloop the daisy chain, fold and go. I mean, that is pretty efficient. So that's it, guys. Job done. Now I know what I've got to do, and it will be done. Finally, when you leave your camp, remember, leave no trace. And of course, remember to take your dog. Yeah!